If I am correct, this is a little bit of a comfort audio. So if anyone needs it, here you go. Yeah, so let's get on. My eyes scanned over the picture as a frown took place on my features. The picture was held tightly in my grasp as I clenched over every small detail the picture held. They probably have forgotten about me already, I thought to myself, staring at the picture of my friends and I. It was all I really had left of my past, before I was forced into the League of Villains. It was the last and only piece of myself I was allowed to keep with me, and I treasured it with everything, but it hurt to stare at it, seeing the smiling faces that probably faced a ditch of darkness from my disappearance. I let out a sigh, feeling myself choke up as I set the picture back down on the nightstand, and I glanced over to the window, my eyes stinging with tears as I listened to the soft songbirds of the night sing out, the moon shining brightly through my window, with their shadows dancing in it. I couldn't sleep. Not just because I could hear everyone's snoring and movements within the building, but because my mind couldn't relax and settle down. It was running in circles, thinking back to all the memories I had with not only my friends, but my family as well. It tore me apart just on the inside as I just think of how I was pulled apart from them and accepted it. I never made an attempt to escape here, nor did I care. Yeah, I had my friends and family at home that I missed a lot, but other than that, I never really had a life. I grew up, got a quirk, went to school, and then got a job. I didn't want to become a villain. I didn't want to become a hero. What good was my quirk? The most I could get or of this was being a spy or an interior banker, maybe, due to my enhanced hearing. But that was all I got from it. That's why I accepted the League's offer when they took me in. I knew my quirk would be better for them to use, plus it gave me reason to live. But at the moment, I regret it. I regret it all. It seemed to be a mistake. Feeling that my tears began to fall, I reached behind me and grabbed my pillow, bringing it up to muffle my cries. They sounded loud in my ears, but I knew that nobody else could hear them. They were almost silent to anyone who passed by my door, if anyone was to pass by my door. Speaking of which, as I sat there, my eyes glued to the small window with the moonlight shining in through it, I could hear footsteps. My cries quiet down as I began to focus on the steps, listening to the heaviness and distance between them. It seemed to distract my mind just a bit as I thought back to whose steps matched those. Tomura? No. He were quieter and lighter than with smaller space between his steps. Plus, his steps were a bit straggled. Toga's steps were shorter with distance than Tomura's, so it couldn't be hers. Everyone else's steps were about the same distance then, so it was a matter of weight and sound type. Listening to them, I recognized them to be a bit lighter than most. But I also heard almost a dragging sound as well, so their feet weren't fully picked up. They were slightly delayed, coming from the right side of the door, so it narrowed it down to about 3 guesses. Compress, Mag, or Dabi. I think, yeah. As their rooms were over that way, thinking of the moment of step they took, I could only assume it was Mag. I think that's what she named, by the way. As their room was right next to mine. Finally accepting the decision, I pulled my pillow back to me, cuddling my body into it as I turned my attention back to the night birds outside. I shuffled around a little on my bed, turning myself towards the window fully, scooting to the edge of it. I heard the pillow close as I leaned my head down into it, letting my tears begin to fall once more, lightly lighter than the last time. Just as I was about to get back into my little crying session, though, I heard the sound of a knock on my door, causing my head to snap over to it, raising an eyebrow. I stood from my bed and made my way over to the door, rubbing my tear-stained cheeks away of the wet. Oh my God, I can't read. Away of the wetness. I reached for the door handle, opening up the door in one swift, quiet motion. As I opened it, I was confused and surprised to see Dabi standing there. A tank top and sweatpants on him? I raised my eyebrows as he looked at me tiredly. Before I could say anything, though, he held up a hand towards my face, his hand instantly lighting into a blue fire. He gazed at me, his eyes squinting a bit as he held the flame closer, making me a bit uncomfortable as I backed up a little. "What the hell are you doing? It's like 2 a.m. I chipped out, my voice getting caught in my throat slightly as it was dry and soaked up. Dabi didn't pay much attention to my words or tone as he hit me with a different surprise statement. "You've been crying." He started rather nonchalantly. "What?" I tried to ask out, but he beat me to an answer before I could manage to say it fully. "The edges of your eyes are bloodshot," he answered, causing me to panic a bit as I thought of something to cover my crying session. I wasn't crying. God, that's so... I'm not saying this because it's a bad deal. Fine. I was snorting drugs. He gave a small chuckle, leaning up against the doorframe as he stared at me. Snorting drugs? Without thinking, I nodded. "Yep." He shook his head, taking a step forward, causing me to back up a bit. He continued to step forward, making me step backwards before I was suddenly at my bed. He gave me a smirk, his arms crossed as he looked down at me. "I totally believe you because you, of all people, would be one for drugs. You know, the same girl who cried when Doga mentioned one thing about needles." I tried to gulp down my fears, knowing I'm not going to get this lie to work at all, as he makes a valid point, so I just let out a sigh, my hands coming together as I played with one another anxiously. Fine, I wasn't doing drugs. Clearly. I glanced at him, finishing myself. I was crying. He pulled away from towering over to me, walking to the door to shut it before coming to sit next to me. As he did, I took a motion to collect my thoughts, trying to think of something that would be telling the truth, yet not making me sound like a baby. I knew Dabi was a chill guy. I've talked to him quite a bit, and he's one of the more understanding people here, but he was still intimidating. I couldn't debate if it was the fact I found him to be a good guy and someone I could maybe see myself with, or if it was the fact of his scars and deep voice that imitated me. Either way, he had some effect on me, and I wasn't caring for it, except he did listen to my issues most of the time. I just always try to sound better than what I was. Oh my God. What I am, though. So, he thinks better of me. "Talk to me," he said out while reaching behind to turn on the lamp next to my bed. I nodded at him, looking down to my fingers as I fiddled with them while I spoke. "Well, it's mostly just normal stuff that's bothering me. I'm just missing them, my friends, my family, and wishing I could see them once more again." I paused for a second, looking up at Dabi with a sorrowful look. I want to be with them again, but I know that's not going to happen. So I just wish I could apologize to them for leaving so suddenly and let out and let them know that I'm okay, that I'm not dead, you know? He didn't say anything, but instead reached around and wrapped an arm around me, bringing me into a hug, and thought it wasn't much at all. It felt like the right thing that I needed. I didn't need him to tell me it was going to be okay, because I knew it was. I didn't need him to lie to me and tell me that maybe I'll see them again, because I knew that wasn't the truth. I didn't need him to tell me anything, but instead just let me know he was there and that he understood. As he held me with one arm, I felt the need for more. As I brought both arms up and reached around his waist, I hugged him tightly, bringing myself into his chest as I felt my tears starting up once more. I just know, I just want to know if they're okay and see all I've missed. I whispered out into his chest. He seemed shocked by the sudden action, taking a minute or so to fully hug me back. Holding me close, he began to sway a little wish as he leaned down, resting his chin on top of my head. I know you do, kid. I wish I could let you, but that's not how it's supposed to go, he finally said, giving me comfort. I pulled away a bit, looking at him. I felt him remove an arm around my body as he reached to my face. He rested his hand on the jawline as he wiped away the tears from one of my eyes. How's it supposed to go? I asked, my voice sounding angrier than it actually was supposed to be. I glanced at him with wide eyes as I saw him smirk at me. Well, maybe it's supposed to go like this. Just then, I watched as he leaned down towards me, his hand lifting my face up a bit. As our lips soon made contact, the warmth from his lips filled me with a sense of relief and calm as I melted into them. I hesitantly moved my arms from his waist up to his face as I cupped it in his cheeks. Even if I was just in pure shock at the moment, I pushed into the kiss, loving the feeling I got from them. The tranquility, the calm, the relief, it all seemed to make my worries, fears, and problems seem to drift away with the over-sensitive feeling of warmth filling me. As he pulled away, I stared into his blue eyes, my tears and frown disappearing into a smile as I held his cheeks in my hands. His cheeks reached up, touching mine as he smiled down at me as well. If this is how it's supposed to go, then I think I'd be okay, I whispered out, pulling him in for yet another kiss, letting everything in me just fade away. For once, it was almost as if I couldn't hear or feel anything besides the one I loved in front of me, Dabi. Hello, guys. So, this was supposed to be a comfort thing. And I wanted to tell you guys that I'm actually sorry that I didn't post yesterday. I was kind of busy that day, but I feel really bad that didn't, that I wasn't to post yesterday. But I do wish to let you know that I will be back to schedule because I'm not busy. So yeah. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, lovelies. I love you also so much.